Hello, this is Dr. Diane Hamilton, and so glad you joined me today. We're going to have just a little bit different of a show. Normally, I interview top authors, C-suite executives, Hall of Fame speakers, billionaires, and today it's just as exciting of a show because I get to interview, as interesting, Crusoe, the celebrity dachshund. And if you haven't followed Crusoe, the celebrity dachshund, you really must, because on Facebook, I think they've got like 2 million followers, so it'd be pretty hard to miss them. You need to search the internet. You have to find this because Ryan has done an amazing job with Crusoe, and he does videos that they're all over YouTube. So we are going to talk to Crusoe and to Ryan right after this. I'm very excited to meet Crusoe. And he's dressed and ready, ready for the event. It's nice to meet you, Crusoe.
Said hi. How you doing?
Well, I am doing very well. What does your shirt say, Crusoe?
Can you read it?
It says hunk. I think I need to hear him for it to be a camera on him, though.
Oh, right. Crusoe, what does your shirt say? A big hunk. A little hunk.
He is a big hunk. I just have a couple of questions for Crusoe.
Okay.
And will he answer questions?
We could try. I'm usually his translator. I've become used to that.
That would be wonderful. Crusoe. Okay.
You ready, Crew? You ready? You gonna tell me the answers? Yeah? Okay, let's go.
Okay. Well, you're such a famous dog now, Crusoe, and I'm curious because you have done a lot of work with your brother, as I've seen. Is his brother?
Yeah, it's his half-brother. Hey?
Half-brother, big distinction. So I will make sure we get that correct.
Same father, different mother.
Ah, well, Crusoe, is there any sibling rivalry about your success? And what does your brother, how does he handle that? And how do you handle your stardom?
Hey, Crew, what does your brother think about all that? Is he a bit jealous sometimes? Maybe? He says his brother does get a little bit jealous sometimes because he's not always around, not always with him. So his brother's not in every photo. So his brother definitely wants to share in a bit more of the spotlight. But especially, actually, Oakley's parents are probably even more jealous than Oakley is.
Oh, yes, I imagine. Well,
so they're over the moon when they hear of a fan who says that Oakley's their favorite. That's when they're the happiest. Yeah.
Ah, well, I'm curious. In retrospect, Crusoe, do you feel that Anthony Weiner has hurt or helped your political aspirations?
What do you think about that, Crew? Has he ruined the name of Weiner? Yeah, pretty much. He says once a wiener, always a wiener, though. So
okay.
No point changing the name because it's gonna stick with him.
Okay, so I'm curious, Crusoe, if there's any outfits that you had to wear that have been particularly troublesome. Have you had any wardrobe malfunctions?
Malfunctions. Do you like wearing all your outfits? What do you think? He does. He likes most of them. He can do pretty well. Some of the more cumbersome ones, like his fire truck or something, he leaves that for his brother. His brother's better at those.
Well, that's really nice of you, Crusoe. Oh, I got a good yawn. I don't know if we got that one on film. But I'm very fascinated by the stardom of being the you got to talk when he gets up.
Yeah, okay. What are you looking? Look at the camera. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah,
good.
Great. So I'm curious what kind of preparation you do, Crusoe. Are you a method actor?
How do you like to do your acting, Crew? Okay. He likes to get right up in there in the frame, full frame. Oop. Good. Now he prepares for a role by testing out the costume for a little bit first, make sure he's comfortable in it. And then when it comes time for the role, what do you do? Okay? He tries to be as regular a dog as possible. just have fun, play, but in the setting of the video we're doing and in costume, and that's when his acting comes across as most natural.
Does he have any famous dogs that he looks up to, or can he watch Old Yeller, or is that just out of the question?
Kurt, what do you think about that? Do you have any dogs you look up to? Actually, when we started, there weren't really many famous dogs or animal influencers online. He kind of started just totally on his own, kind of going in blind. Like, you didn't know the industry, didn't know the digital landscape or anything like that. So I wouldn't say there's anyone in particular that we were trying to replicate or anything like that. But he says he can watch Old Yeller because he has his rabies vaccination, so it doesn't bother him.
Well, that's important. That is.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Crusoe, do you think Chihuahuas are overrated?
Chihuahuas. You know a couple, huh? What do you think? Chihuahuas, he says, are the true lap dogs. Dachshunds are looked at as lap dogs, but they're not because they're actually hunting dogs, so they can get rough and tough. That being said, he does know a few Chihuahuas, and he does like fluffy dogs, so they're good for some purposes.
Ah, well, you've got good taste, Crusoe. And he's just hamming it up for the screen there.
Yeah. Well, there's a window behind us, so he looks at the birds and the squirrels.
Squirrel? Does that do anything for you?
Squirrel? Squirrel? You gotta say it more like that. Squirrel?
Are there any words that capture his attention other than squirrel?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's got a little vocabulary going. Like, he knows mommy's home, daddy's home, certain people, go in the shower, go in the bath. What else?
I'm impressed by his knowledge compared to the dachshund I had. I couldn't get her to do anything. How did you get Crusoe to do these amazing things? Crusoe, is it the people? Do people have anything to do with this, or is it all you?
Hey, Crew, do I get any credit, or is it all you? Okay, what do you think? He says it's mostly all him, but since I feed him, that's a pretty important part of his life, so I get that credit.
What?
And massages too. Right?
Well, Crusoe, it's so nice of you to join this part of the event, and we won't keep you. I'm sure you have a squirrel or two to chase, and I would love to talk to Ryan now.
Yeah, you okay
so
with that?
You're welcome to stay, but Ryan, I have some questions for you.
Okay, well, I think Crusoe can go watch the squirrels there. He is looking at a cookie up here above the camera.
Oh, good.
There we go. Good. Okay. You go have a nap now? Okay. Say
bye, Crusoe.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Well, Ryan, it's so nice to meet you, and I want to introduce you formally,
Okay.
because now you say your last name is Beauchesne, right? Ryan Beauchesne? Beauchesne. I'm sorry, Beauchesne.
Yeah.
So Ryan Beauchesne, you're the author of Crusoe, the Celebrity Dachshund, Adventures of the Wiener Dog Extraordinaire, which we just saw he definitely was.
Yes.
You're a Canadian-born internet sensation because, well, he is, I should say, but you are. You found fame by virtue of his love for dressing up and your love for dressing him up as different characters and charming the world with his unique personality, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Crusoe's a miniature black and tan dachshund, as we just saw, and he's named after Robinson Crusoe for his deep sense of adventure and natural ability to instill fascination in the public eye. His tagline is the wiener dog who thinks he's more of a celebrity than he really is. But as we just saw, he pretty much really is a celebrity.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the theme of our second book, which is coming out, is that he sort of reached the fame that he once imagined to reach.
What's the name of your second book?
It's not actually formally released yet, but the working title is The Worldly Wiener Dog.
The world's what?
Worldly Wiener Dog.
Oh, worldly wiener. Well, I love your sense of humor, and I think that you guys are really talented, though. You make it look like, oh, well, it's a dog doing things, but that's got to be so hard just based on having a dachshund, knowing, just anything I've had to deal with in the
Yeah.
past. Well, who makes the outfits, first of all?
I make 90% of them.
You do. That's talent.
Yeah.
You know how to
Thanks.
sew?
No, I don't sew, actually.
How do you make them?
It's all glue gun.
Ah.
But I could do fabric and everything with glue gun. Some of it is like fancier, like tuxedos and nice shirts we have tailored by a lady on Etsy. But all the costumes, as you see, I make all those, like his hockey, tennis, everything like that.
Tennis was one of my favorites, by the way.
Yeah, cool.
Love that. There was a lot of movements that were very reminiscent of actual tennis, which cracked me up. Your choreography is funny to me because it's so well done. I mean, a lot of people might just think, oh, what, if they haven't seen him yet, they're like, okay, why are you interviewing a guy about a dachshund? But you really have a business going here. You've got a serious book. You've got you're 100,000 YouTube followers or more, isn't it? I'm not sure.
We're almost at 100,000 on YouTube. Yeah. You
have a following, and I mean, it's one of those companies that fascinates me because you've captured a definite niche market that people are interested in. But it's not just videos, it's really entertainment. You've done choreography, you've done serious, it's gotta be hard to get them to hit the ball and, the things you have to do. How did this come to be, and what was the inspiration for doing this?
It kind of developed a little bit on its own. Like when I first started, I didn't have aspirations of making this into a business or making this to where it is today. It kind of all just happened with different pieces moving in different ways. But growing up, we always had the coffee table books of William Wegman.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you know him. He does kind of dress up photography with a Weimaraner.
Yeah, I remember. Which
is the dog I grew up with. So that plus sort of, I really like the whimsical personality of Calvin and Hobbes, and sort of how it was, very appealing to adults, but sort of about a child in a way. And that's kind of how I adapted Crusoe's personality today, is that it is very much for adults. Adults is about 80% of our audience, but it's really kind of showing life from this almost childlike perspective of from within a dog, and how they explore the world, how they see it, and sort of the funny situations that they get into. And then I've always just kind of been crafty myself and kind of hands-on, so doing little costumes and outfits kind of just kept growing and growing. And as people really enjoyed the videos, I started to see, okay, videos is where it's at. I got to do more of that. And then we kind of kept going and going and going. And I feel like I always have to top the last thing I did, so it keeps getting bigger and bigger and more extravagant.
Yeah, but they do. That horse race looked pretty tough to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of creative editing for sure that goes in. Like as you said, the tennis video, people, they might hear about the tennis video and just think it's dogs running around, which it kind of is, but like a lot of the shots, you see them actually hitting the ball with the racket. But, I'm actually working the racket down right below the edge of the frame so you don't see it. There's a lot of really tricky parts. I need a lot of helpers making the videos. And then a lot of it just comes together in the editing.
I just the foot movements and stuff in the tennis would crack me up because you have an eye for what happens in the sport. You know what I mean? And you don't just have them running around. And that's what I think is so creative about it. I was just fascinated by you've got a whole store of stuff. I mean, you can buy anything with Crusoe on it practically.
Almost, yeah. We really expanded this year. Got coffee mugs, t-shirts.
What's your biggest seller?
Our biggest seller is we did a Chef Crusoe apron, kitchen apron. That was pretty popular. We did a beach towel this year that has his shark wiener character on it.
Oh, yeah.
That was really popular. Our calendars are always really popular.
What was the hardest episode you had to do?
Editing wise, it's anything that has the special effects. Like the Star Wars one, I had to animate the lightsaber battle.
That was a funny one.
That took forever. Uh, in terms of filming itself, um, hmm, I don't know. I'd say they all go, pretty much the same. They're all pretty smooth. Some of the ones that are more choreographed, sort of like I don't know if you saw our cowboy video where he shoots up the bar.
The GIF kills me when he walks through the. That's great. Yes, I've seen that.
So for that video, I actually did like a little storyboard first, which I don't usually do. And I
Hmm.
pretty much had every shot planned out. And then we were kind of uh, going one by one through it and making sure we had everything. That was a more systematic approach to how I usually do it.
Hmm.
Normally, I just have like a rough idea,
Hmm.
put them in the outfit, and then just shoot a whole bunch of stuff. And then pretty much the producer knew is through the editing. So those ones aren't as planned out in terms of scene by scene. But so the cowboy one was, and that was more work because we had to go through and make sure we had everything. Still similar idea. Like it's all about making sure that he's having fun and
Yeah.
is comfortable in the outfit, so that he's just himself. Like he's his tail's wagging, he's having fun,
Mhm.
and that's when it looks the most natural, and that's when it's the most funny to people too.
Did he have a hard time the first few times you put the outfits on him to kind of piss him off at all? I mean, because he's got outfits on, or is he just a natural when it comes to wearing outfits?
He's a natural. So when we got him, we were in Mont Tremblant, Quebec, as a puppy. So he was being potty trained in minus 25 degrees Celsius weather. So it
Wow.
was freezing cold. But anyway, he was trained, but he was always wearing sweaters and coats and things like that since he was a puppy, and little
Mm.
boots too. So wearing things was never something that was like foreign to him. He was
Oh.
always pretty used to that.
Well, so do you have another job? Is this your main job?
It's been my full-time job for 2 years now.
Yeah. What'd you do before this?
Digital marketing.
Okay. So, well, you obviously, I could see how you'd be a natural at that. Does this give you any inclination to want to be like a producer or get into making films and get into Hollywood? Is that a natural next step?
Um, we are in talks with a studio right now about trying to do a Crusoe TV show, which is really where I would love to see it go. Um, but that's kind of been in the works for a while, and to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit to get it to where I want it to go. So hopefully that will come to reality pretty soon, but not sure. Um,
How old is Crusoe?
he's 7.5, so that's kind of what I'm starting to think about. Like, I don't want him to have to go to Hollywood for 6 months of the year to do a TV show. So, ideally, it would be actually animation.
Hmm.
There's more continuity to that, and kind of
Hmm.
gives life to his personality in a
Hmm.
way that can go on for a long time. But maybe there's a way he could be live action and part animation as well. So we're kind of exploring different avenues. But as I said, I definitely don't want to do something where he has to go to Hollywood for 6 months. Like, as I said, with our videos, he's not an acting dog. He's not trained necessarily to be an actor. So
Hmm.
he is still a regular dog and likes being himself and living in the country. So I don't want to change that.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, is this your first dachshund, or have you had a lot of dachshunds?
It is my first Dachshund.
Uh, so, have you had other dogs?
Just the Weimaraner growing up.
Uh-huh. And it's got to be a lot different that have a bigger dog compared to a smaller dog. They don't quite. I had a Labrador before I had my dachshund, and wow,
Yeah,
what a difference, right?
yeah. Big difference. But growing up, I actually used to dress up my Weimaraner and take photos like the William Wegman photo books.
Oh, you
So
did.
it's kind of funny that it came full circle to be my career. Never would have expected that.
So I'm sure your parents find this amusing.
Oh yeah,
And your wife gets involved. I saw. Does she
yeah.
help you
She
with?
helps out a lot.
Does she? Do you have her do all the shoots with you? And
Most of them. So she still works for her family business, so she
Mhm.
can't always be with me.
Mhm.
But whenever she can, yeah, she's my other hand,
Uh-huh.
helping me out on the video shoots, and she's got some really funny, cute ideas too. So that plays a large role as well.
Well, you said you have to try and top yourself. because there's
Mhm.
bigger and better things, and everybody's expecting what's the next one going to be.
Yeah.
So do you have like a list of how often do you do them? And do you have a list of how far ahead are you of what you're planning?
It depends. Like I have a little whiteboard over here where I have a few ideas, but I wouldn't say I have a ton. A lot of times it's like, okay, this week we got to do a video. What can I do? We'll kind of have a little brainstorming session, come up with something, and then, I got to go find the materials to make the little outfit. And then it kind of usually comes together in a week to 2 week time frame is usually the ahead of time we go. Yeah.
And so you monetize this obviously with your store and your books and everything else, but you have advertisers on your site as well?
We have a couple of advertisers, but the biggest point of revenue for us is like sponsorships. So the
Mm-hmm.
whole influencer marketing world,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure you know about, is really becoming the more popular trend in terms of digital marketing nowadays. Where it used to be, you would pay to have a banner ad over here or
Mm-hmm.
pay per click on Google. Now, if you hire an influencer who has an audience, and if you hire the right influencer, you pretty much already have the exact audience you want right there, already segmented, perfect to your business. You don't have to go through the trouble of narrowing down your audience and trying to find it. So that's what's so key about influencer marketing is you have all these audiences that are so tailored right away.
So who's
Plus,
your
it comes across as more authentic and natural when they're promoting a product.
Well, and I'm curious your demographic. Have you figured out who your followers are? I mean, is there a typical person that, I mean, I don't know if I'd be very typical. I'm curious, who's your typical person?
Probably. It's mostly Dachshund owners,
Mhm.
but not always. There's a few that have other small dogs or regular dogs or not even dogs. It's probably 75% female, and majority is probably in the 30 to 55 range. We do have, but that's like the largest segment, but it's still pretty evenly spread.
Mm-hmm.
So female, sort of middle-aged dog owners, 80% in the US, and then after that, it's kind of Canada, UK, Australia.
Well, I mean, heaven forbid something should happen to Crusoe, but dogs don't live a long time, and you've got that probably to think about down the road. If something should happen, do you have like plans to get more dachshunds? I mean, what would you do in the future?
That's a question I've been asking myself more this year for sure. As you know, he had his back surgery last year, which was pretty tough for me and all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what I want to do next. I mean, there's absolutely no way I can come up with a dog that could replace Crusoe, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But do I want to continue it in some way with another dog? And if so, do I introduce another dog now or after?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really don't know actually.
That's a tough decision to make, and I'm, you've had such success with this dog. I mean, it's just so funny to me to see the different things people are doing with the different stations. And the Weimaraners obviously were a big deal when they first came out, and they were very artistic. It was really creative.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I love to see the creativity. I think that's probably what I mean, dachshunds are so funny to look at. I mean, you just
Yeah,
look at them and you laugh, right?
yeah.
But to me, I like the creativity behind what you're doing. You're not just taking videos of your dog, and you really are talented. And I kept thinking, I got to talk to this guy. I want to know more about how you got into this and what you did, because it's just so fascinating. I mean, you see these things on Facebook all the time. Different videos get shared, but certain ones I stand out, and Crusoe definitely stands out, and you've done a really amazing job. And it's been so nice to have you on the show and for you to share Crusoe with everyone. And you'll have to thank him again for answering my question.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, but it's so fascinating, and I really appreciate it. And I will break for a commercial here, but and we'll be back right after this.
Perfect. Thanks, man.